Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad you're here. We know you are in the right place at the right time, and your soul is welcome here.
Just where you are meant to be, whether you're live streaming or you're here with us in person. Happy Thanksgiving Day weekend! So happy you're here. Let's sing about it. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. In the right place. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Please join me in turning around, saying good morning to those live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcomed here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome. No matter what color, what culture, sexual orientation, political or religious affiliation, one God, everybody's welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Your soul is welcome here, as is everyone else this morning. There's a buzz in here today.
It is a buzz.
Yes.
Definitely is a buzz.
Post-Thanksgiving buzz.
It is. Is everybody full of turkey? Full of gluten? Like me? So seriously, is everybody full of gluten? Yeah? Did you all enjoy the pie last week?
Yes.
Yes? I want to thank the special person who brought a cherry pie, because aside from one piece, I ate the whole thing. Not in one day. I spread it out throughout the whole week, and then I had no pie for Thanksgiving, which worked out really well.
Well, I had apples, so I ate one whole pie myself.
Well, I am happy later to offer a workshop on how to spread out your gluten load during the Thanksgiving week. So, anyway, on a more serious note, not a serious note, but a deeply loving note, I want to welcome all of you today. And today is a special day. Do you feel it? I felt it all day. I felt it driving here. I felt it with all the familiar and long-lost faces that came through today from far and wide. Aloha and mahalo. So I want to especially welcome all of you this morning in all the ways that SLC is that warm, vibrant, loving, mission-centric family that welcomes you home. And if you are here for the first time, wow, you are so blessed, and so are we. And so we know that you are never here by accident. You are here by divine appointment. And our divine appointment is to transform lives as we love serve, and remember. And you're all so bright and wise, and you have memories like a steel trap. Not a sieve, a trap. And before you walked in here, you silenced, as you were driving here, before you even got in your car and put on your seatbelt, you silenced your electronic devices.
And we have this announcement for Kay.
We do.
Yes.
We have a member, longtime member, Kay Weiss, who made her transition. She was a 9 a.m. service person, sat about 3 rows from the back, about 2 seats in. And so Kay made her transition, and she is attending services out of her body. And we are going to have a wonderful celebration of life for her, and that will be on Monday, the first Monday of December, which is December 3rd, and that's
yes.
at 6 p.m. here. So please join us for that celebration of life for our dear Kay.
So let's take a moment in communing with the presence, and those who knew Kay on this side of the veil know that she's gone on the other side to continue her assignment that Spirit of God has in store for her. In the meantime, we do our part to continue to grow, develop, and unfold to fulfill our purpose and reason for being. As we come under the government and guidance of pure spirit, we are reminded that we're living and moving and having our beingness in God. And we rest assured in this presence, knowing that all is well. And as we make this the activity of our consciousness, in every thought we have, every word we speak, every action that we take, something within us is uplifted because we are manifesting and exuding and radiating the qualities in our life. And as we do that, we can say that when you see me, you see the presence that sent me. So we come together to remind each other of who and what we really are, what our divine purpose is, that has something to do with letting God be God in us. We're grateful to be those vessels and vehicles and instruments of pure spirit as we go forth, multiplying, amplifying the all good. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And so this week, our Wow Wednesday program is the Talking Stick Council. And you will see the beautiful talking stick here on the altar that we'll be using. So how many of you were at the Bridge of Light Ancestors ceremony? And so you received a reading from your ancestor, and even if you weren't there, you could pick one up from the altar the following week or two. So anyone that has one of those slips of paper, we're asking that you come to the Talking Stick Council and that you share that wisdom. We asked you to take that reading into prayer and see what would emerge through your prayer and meditation. So we would love for you to join us. If you didn't pick one up, we would love for you to join us and steep in that collective soup of wisdom. So that's this coming Wednesday. We've got soup, and you can stew in that too, or eat it at 6, and then the wonderful program at 7. So please don't miss it. And then if you have your photo in the community directory, those have arrived, and you can come to the cashier table, just give us your little initial by your name, and you can pick up your directory. If you've advertised in the directory, you can pick one up, and if you're not in the directory, you can still pick one up. I think we have a limited number, so please be sure to see the cashier table for those.
And I believe we have an announcement from Paula on the Advent Spiral and the Candlelight Players calling.
Yes, I do. So Wednesday, December 12th, we're going to have what has become one of our holiday traditions here at Spiritual Life Center, the Advent Garden Spiral. This is, in essence, a candlelight ceremony, and we create a spiral of cedar boughs in the sanctuary here, and it is decorated with symbols from the 4 kingdoms of earth: mineral, plant, animal, and human, divine human. And everybody takes a journey to the center and gets the light from inside and brings it back out and places it along the spiral. So it's a beautiful ceremony. If you haven't been to one, I encourage you to come. That's December 12th. And then also next Sunday after services, and then again on Tuesday at 5:30, we are going to have our auditions for our candlelight nativity players. These are the 8 characters that we portray in our candlelight services. And if you have a little flair for theater love for you to come and audition. You can pick up scripts of the different parts. It's a short monologue for each part, outside at the cashier table, or you can get it online as well. So we encourage some people to come forward who might not otherwise be on the platform and share their gifts with us and portray one of these characters in the Nativity. Thank you.
And thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
Just a reminder of the annual Giving Tree experience that you can participate in. You can pick up an ornament with a child's name and age and wish list, which is on the back of the ornament. And you have a chance to bring magic as well as wonder to a child who has needs this holiday season. And there's inserts in your bulletin that has more details about that. And the wonderful people at the Giving Tree table will also give you more information about it as well. Just a reminder for those interested in going to the Cuba trip, the deadline for submitting the deposit is extended till December the 7th. And I believe you can see Claudia in the courtyard after the service for answering questions that you may have about this amazing opportunity to travel and see a country through the local eyes in Cuba.
Absolutely. And how many of you are in touch with your inner children? A little bit. So you
Got a few
will
here.
want to join us for Rockin' the Stockings with Divine Shine on 12/9. So it's our youth education annual holiday gathering. And, you know, if you don't have children in youth ed, just bring your inner child because everyone is welcome. There will be wonderful crafts. They make little ornaments and do all kinds of fun things, decorating cookies and nibbling on fantastic treats. So you are all welcome. That's December 9th at 12:30. So stop on over for a cookie or two or a nibble of something lovely for you.
Oh. You just rhyming all this morning.
But it's
Just
like,
a
I
poet
think I'm
this morning.
channeling RJ. But don't worry, I'm not going to sing.
Well, as you know, many of the people that were in the fires in Paradise have been affected in very adverse ways, and we've come up with a way that we can be of support to those individuals that have been part of that experience. And Reverend Christine Boughton is going to share how you can participate in that because she's helping coordinate and spearhead our help in this area.
Thank you, James. And I really wanted to give my appreciation to James and the staff for practicing this prosperity principles and allowing us to reach out this way and support people who were affected by the fires. And as of yesterday, there were nearly 14,000 homes destroyed, over 500 businesses, including schools and hospitals, and another 4,200 structures. So it's the most destructive fire in California history in terms of loss of property and also loss of life, because to date it's like 84 people. So last week in particular, the week before, I was just feeling the effect of all the smoke in the air. And in my time of prayer and meditation, I really got that this was such a demonstration of oneness, because this literally is the town, the trees, the buildings, the people of Paradise that I'm breathing in, this manifestation of the oneness principle. And it just really affected me and motivated me to really want to see how I could help and serve. And so one of my dear friends and friend at SLC, who's been here many times to share her beautiful gift of music, is Reverend Kathy Zavada, who is also the spiritual leader in Orville, which is just next door to Paradise. And she lost her home and everything in it. She was, I think her guardian angels work overtime. She was away out of town at holding a retreat in Brighton Bush, and so was spared, but all of her belongings and her music inventory and her piano that she writes her music on, just like anyone else, all of their belongings. When I was there, I went to her church last Sunday to represent Unity and SLC and help them know they're not alone. It's a place I've spoken as a guest speaker before, so I knew the congregation a little bit and wanted to reach out to them. And they had at least 6 people who lost their home that had lived in Paradise. And
So 3 of them were there, and I got to pray with them and connect with them, and they were so grateful to have someone from the greater community family there just to be with them. And so I was really motivated because in addition to these folks who directly need help, some of them are still living in tents and don't have new places to go yet. So even if we had things to give them, they didn't have any place to put it yet. So they're still needing the very direct basic needs met. And there's wonderful places, and many of you have already given to those bigger organizations like the Red Cross online, and so thank you, and I bless you for that. But I just felt guided that I wanted to come and do something directly for them. And so I am here at the grace of James and staff to collect gift cards and cash, and I'll be taking them next week, and then again in a couple more weeks to give to the people in the Unity Church that lost their homes. And then there's several of them that are also going out and delivering things, backpacks and laundry supplies and food and hats and warm socks and on and on and on to the people that are directly in need. So I will be in the courtyard to accept your gifts of cash or gift cards. This is a direct donation. It's not going to go through the church. So, and like I said, we'll be doing this for a couple of weeks. And I just bless you and know that this just means so much to those people. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate you taking that on. Just a reminder, someone mentioned to me earlier that the marathon is next week. Oh, I don't know, it may affect, doesn't usually affect the 11 o'clock service, but some folks, the roads are blocked so you can't get here, and people only can come after the service is over. You don't want to do that. So just a reminder, I think you have to get here early or find a route that you can get here without going across Fair Oaks Boulevard primarily. It'll be blocked off.
Yeah, you know, the first year that you were here,
Yeah, I got that.
you got caught in
I got
that,
caught up,
and
yeah.
I was sweating.
Yeah, and I was saying, don't you know who I
Couldn't get
am? They said no.
Well, there are certainly wonderful groups of people that we want you to know, and we're going to introduce them now. Would our ambassadors, our prayer chaplains, and our board who are here stand, please? And so our board members, they wear a purple a purple ribbon on their name tag. And those board members are serving a 3-year term in holding this community in the highest consciousness for our operations and for our spiritual wellness. And so please see them if you have any feedback or questions that you can direct to them. Our ambassadors wear the rainbow ribbon, and they are here to warmly welcome you and answer any questions that you have about how to get connected here at SLC. And then we have our beautiful prayer chaplains in those white stoles, and they are here to hold you in confidential prayer. And whether it be of celebration or challenge, you may pray with them in the back of the sanctuary after service or across the breezeway at the prayer chaplain table. Thank you, chaplains.
Thank you for all your service. And if you're here for the very first time, in a few moments, we're going to ask you to raise your hand. In the meantime, we really want you to know about the opportunities that you can get connected to Spiritual Life Center. And so we're going to hand you out a welcome card that you can hand in at the offertory time and at the offertory basket, or take it directly to the welcome table where you'll get a warm welcome from those who are there at that table. So anyone here for the very first time, any first timers, just keep your hand up nice and high, and we're going to bring you a chalet. And on the chalet, there is a tag. And it says, "We believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And there are many paths to the one God." And so we thank you for being here today, sharing your path with us, bringing your consciousness, bringing your divine love. And in that consciousness, we would like to greet you. So we invite you to say hello to a newcomer and to each other and just say, "You are marvelous."
standing as we get into our group song. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart, oh wonderful Spirit. Please join us in singing. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful. Pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Shine your light in me, shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Dance and smile, I meant sing your song into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Sing your song in me. Sing your song into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Now dance and smile in me, dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Dance and smile in me, dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit. Wonderful Spirit.
Now we're going to speak those words that we've determined are some of our triggers as a community. We're calling it our shadow side. So we bring these up and out as we learn more deeply how to live with nothing and no one against us. As we wake up and we grow up and we show up and we clean up. So let us speak together. Please have compassion for us when we are being not enough, distrusting, grieving, blaming, powerless, and fearful, because this is who we have come here to be, inspired, in integrity, joy-filled, compassionate, unstoppable, generous, and transformational. Now let's embody all those beautiful qualities as we speak together and unsoul our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now, in preparation for meditation, we sing this beautiful chant as we open our hearts and our minds and our lives to be in the light.
I invite you to take a nice deep breath and settle into your chair. I open my heart. Please join us in singing. I open my heart to be in the light. I open my heart to love. I open my heart to be in the light. I open my heart to love. Pure light, pure love, pure light, pure love. I open my heart to be in the light. I open my mind to love. I open my mind to be in the light. I open my mind to love. Pure light, pure love, pure light, pure love. I open my life to be in the light. I open my life to love. I open my life to be in the light. I open my life to love. Pure light, pure love, pure light, pure love. I open my heart to be in the light. I open my heart to love.
As we settle into this time of meditation, we deepen into the truth that as we open our hearts and our minds, our lives open in love. Breathing into this moment, we relax, letting go of any physical tension, welcoming the peace we find. With divine presence lighting our way, our eternal guide to infinite wisdom, our anchor of peace, reminding us we are the fullness of life, magnificent, life-affirming expression of our greatest good. Imagine what is possible when grounded in spirit, we allow ourselves to try. Supported by an infinite power, this invisible but ever-present strength within, gently dissolving any resistance that may appear as doubt or fear. We let the light of love shine through us. It is the essence of our intentions that are felt. It is not a call for perfection, but a willingness to try. Remembering we are one, we let go of comparisons as they only lead to separation, and we live in the land of connection. Celebrating successes, ours and others, rising together expands the realm of possibility, opening doors of opportunity with conscious creating. What will we allow ourselves to do? Who will we allow ourselves to be as we sail on the wings of possibility? Following our imagination with our hearts as our guide and spirit cheering us on. We choose our way forward with choices that open and expand us into even greater possibilities, with actions that enhance our lives and our communities, with love that deepens our connections to spirit and each other. Moving towards the pool of divine, we follow the call that excites and inspires us, and we watch the world respond, lifting us into a higher resonance. We recognize opportunities before us. Standing in our strength, we dare greatly. And here in the cradle of stillness, we take time in the silence to explore the goodness that is calling us forward. Supported by Spirit, we believe in possibility, and we send the light of love and hope around the world where it is needed, expressing our greatest good, as this is who we are meant to be, and so it is.
Spirit is flowing, Spirit is moving, the greatest good into my life. By faith I believe it, with joy I receive it. greatest expression of good in my life. Spirit is flowing, the Spirit is flowing, Spirit is moving, the Spirit is moving, the greatest good into my life. By faith I believe it. By faith I believe it. With joy I receive it. With joy I receive it. The greatest expression of good in my life. I never dreamed that I would have a life as rich as mine. Spirit just keeps revealing new treasures for me to find. And Spirit is flowing, Spirit is flowing. Oh, Spirit is moving, the Spirit is moving. The greatest good into my life. By faith I believe it. With joy I receive it. With joy I receive it. The greatest expression of good in my life. The greatest expression of good in my life.
Oh, thank you. They're expressing that good in their life, but also bringing it out in me. I don't know about you as well. So thank you, Lori, Ann, AC Band, Paula, Lori, Lurie. But there's also a Lori. Yes, there's a Lori and a Lurie. You know, as you're hearing those words, you know, Spirit is flowing. And Spirit is moving to express the greatest good in our life. And as we take a breath and take in those words and really feel them with every depth of our being, if you felt any sense of inspiration from those words, if you felt any sense of resonance, any sense of joy, any sense of a peace of mind, then you know that in that moment you are in your natural state. That's our natural state. I think about this, if you ever think about a baby and you see them when they're very young, as long as they're fed and warm and dry, they're happy. You never see a baby with a face that says, "That's a mean baby." No, they're always happy, joyous. That's their natural state. They don't know anything else. Somehow we get that learned out of us over time. Because on the other hand, whenever we're in a state of fear and doubt and worry or shaming or blaming or believing a sense of separation with other people, that's really an altered state. It's not really our real state. And so I believe that we come here in a place at Spiritual Life Center or any other community to remind us that we're here to reclaim our heritage. We're here to remind ourselves of who and what we really are when we're in our natural state. And when we're in that natural state, we're always in the flow. We're always in the flow of the good. No matter how it shows up, somehow we're able to get in tune with it, get in alignment with it. And when we get in the flow, then life also flows with greater ease, with greater grace. I saw a video, YouTube video, that I'm going to have Aiden show in a moment. He can tune it up. But to give you the background of this, there's a game in China in which they have a bridge in which they shake it, rattle it, roll it, and the whole idea is to stay on the bridge till you're the last person there. And so we're going to show, just a little portion of this game. But notice the guy in the middle with the hat on, and I think the white shirt. Roll the tape. Rolling up. Rolling up. There we go, if you can see it. So they got that bridge, and folks are falling off and holding on. But notice the guy in the middle. He's just dancing along with it. He's just going along with the flow of it. This is no big deal. I'm not trying to fight it. I'm not trying to resist it. I'm going with it. Yeah, he's dancing. He turns around. Going with the flow. I had a teacher, a mentor, and he said that when you go with the flow of spirit, what you're really doing is that you're here to reveal all of the cosmic order of the universe and reflect it in your life and in this world. And I was thinking at the time, as I was going through my own challenges and difficulties, that, I just want to, get rid of this problem I have in my life. I want to get this pain out of my back. And he's talking about revealing the cosmic order in life. I didn't want to hear about any of the cosmic order stuff. But the reality is, this is what we are here to do, to reveal it. So we want to understand that all of us are here to reflect that cosmic order, to reflect that one presence, that one power. And we want to say we can do this. And so we take in the words of that song, that spirit is flowing, spirit is moving in order to create that greater good in our life. We want to be able to go with that flow. There's Maharishi Yogi who said that infinite flexibility brings about infinite positivities, infinite possibilities in our life. Because we're going to go through ups and downs in our life experiences. There's going to have things that happen in life that we do not like at times. So there's always going to be changes. There's always going to be movements taking place. I was listening to an interview of the late Steve Jobs, who headed Apple, and he was talking about how things were being invented over history. And there used to be a time that new inventions would come, and it would be kind of like a building block on something before us. Continue building. And it was incremental improvements. But he said we're living in an era now in which that when you invent something, eventually it becomes obsolete. It's gone, poof. And then you have to invent something else and invent something else. And as I thought about that, he said, I'm reminded that things outside of us are going to change all the time. And it's also a reminder that we're not to look at things outside of ourselves for our happiness, for our joy, because that'll always be shifting around us. Often people around us will base their happiness on something outside of themselves. And if it does not go according to plan, it does not go according to their plan, there's upset. But we must realize that if something cannot be changed, we need to go with the flow. Go with the flow, as that gentleman was doing in that video. And begin to take in that first part of the serenity prayer. Say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. How can I make the best of it? And I thought of a story in the Hebrew Bible about Joseph. You know, may have seen maybe the play, Joseph with the multicolored coats. There's another name for it. I don't know exactly. I saw it in Chicago years ago. And I think Donny Osmond was in it at the time, as I remember. But in this particular story, Joseph had certain gifts. And he was with his brothers. And Joseph had the ability to interpret dreams and read dreams of people around him. And his brothers were jealous of him. So they set up a situation where he eventually was arrested and put in jail of the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh, was going to do some bad things to Joseph, but somehow along the way, Joseph demonstrated to him that he had this special gift, that he can help interpret the dreams of the Pharaoh, that helped him become more effective in his position. And then eventually, Joseph's brothers came back because they were going through a famine in their land at the time, and they needed food, and Joseph was in the position to help them, and they didn't recognize who he was. And he was kind of toying with them a little bit and had them come back a few times. And eventually Joseph revealed himself as to who he was. And of course they were shocked and, feeling guilty and ashamed. And they said, "Oh, Joseph, we feel sorry what we did to you." And Joseph said, "Hold on, brothers. You don't understand. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." He took that situation that was seemingly so bad and took it to his advantage. The circumstances changed in his life in a way that he did not like, but he got a blessing out of it anyway. If he had had the awareness or the consciousness or the belief, look at what has happened to me. Look how bad things are right now. Look who moved my cheese right now in my life. But he remained flexible. He kept his attention upward. And he had that greater expression of good in his life. But he had to be flexible in order to not hinder the flow of that good that was trying to have its way with him. The great poet and singer John Lennon said it this way. He said, life's what's happening when you're busy making plans. Oftentimes things happen that we don't like sometimes, that we don't plan for. They're not according to what we've devised as our plan. But we're not basing our inherent joy and happiness on things happening a certain way. We want to develop that flexibility with the awareness of that old Zen statement that says, you can't prevent the birds from flying around your head, but you can prevent them from making a nest in your hair. If I had hair. In other words, things have happened, but we don't have to, dwell in it. We don't have to get into it. We can't prevent things that are going on in the world sometimes, in our lives, in our experiences. The thought forms that come bombarding us, that show us the particular things that are showing up in our environment. I had a friend who was in journalism, and he was very, very disturbed by the response of the United States government to the journalist from Saudi Arabia who worked for the Washington Post and was killed by the Saudi Arabian, allegedly, according to the CIA, that were higher-ups. He was upset that he maybe diminished his position as a journalist, and, there was no sanctions, no criticism, because, they were supposedly providing some financial benefit to certain people. And, of course, he was letting this situation occupy his head. It was like it really disturbing him. In other words, this situation was living rent-free in his mind. He was letting the birds, create a nest on his head. But we could always dislodge from that. This is why we pray. This is why we meditate. This is why we begin to vision. This is why we enter into sacred service. This is why we come into holy fellowship. This is why we do spiritual study. So that ultimately we have a breakthrough from the external world as a source of our peace of mind. It doesn't mean that we don't try to change the things that we can, but we realize that our peace of mind is never dependent upon something outside of us. But we have to be flexible and pliable and notice that it is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom no matter what we're going through or growing through. And sometimes we can be surprised by what is trying to emerge through us. Sometimes we limit the good by, maybe we'll have our vision boards, and that's a good thing. It's a beginning step. But we don't want to hinder the overflow of the presence of God, thinking that it's got to look a certain way. There are magnificent possibilities all around us, even in the midst of challenge. So we don't want to restrict it in any way by simply answering our little meager prayers that we come up at times. It's almost like you go to the ocean and all of this is available to us, and we bring a small teaspoon when the universe says, you can bring a dump truck and get as much as you want. There's lots of ideas out there. Sometimes we think that because something doesn't happen to work out the way that we want, that's a bad thing. But I was thinking about a gentleman who it was a lawyer, and he went to a great law school, I think it was Stanford Law School, top of his class. And, his vision was to be a clerk for the United States Supreme Court. And he had done all the things that one could do to get there. He had all the credentials, and he had all the qualifications. He had all the smarts. And he went through the whole process and got to the very, very end, and they turned him down. He didn't get it. He was despondent for a while. But somehow I think he believed deep in his heart there must have been something else in his life. And eventually he became the first investor in Facebook. So I think from this point on, he's saying, thank God I did not get that job. Sometimes you want to say, it was wonderful I was released from that position and to a greater good, that maybe that relationship ended. It was wonderful that all the stuff I was planning that certain way did not work out. Spirit is flowing. Spirit is moving for the greatest good in my life. I think in addition to being flexible and open, there's a couple other things that we can do to get into that flow. I think one of the things is to really create the conditions so that good can, in fact, enter into our life and move through us. And then the second thing is create what Emmett Fox called the mental equivalent. As far as creating the conditions, a lot of focus is on, in this teaching, we believe in cause and effect in the teachings. But we come to understand there's no such thing when we think about the presence of God. There's only one presence, one power, one reality. And what we want to do is create the conditions for the good that is there for us to come through. If you have a seed, that seed can grow into become a rose bush. And when that seed is placed in the right conditions, when it has the right nutrients, when it has the right atmosphere of water and everything necessary, it grows and it becomes that rose bush. And that rose bush was already an idea in the mind of God. It was already complete. That seed was already a completed idea. There was nothing that was causing it, but the conditions allowed for that potential to emerge. In the same way, all of us are magnificent expressions in the mind of God. We just need to create the right conditions for it to be expressed in our world. And I believe the fertile soil for us is things like love and beauty and generosity and forgiveness. That equals the fertile soil for our souls to express its true self. And of course, the unfertile soil is things like resentment and unforgiveness and hate and unkindness, things of that particular nature, and that restricts and constricts the magnificent possibilities that are there for us. And then, of course, we want to come to the understanding we want to develop the mental equivalent of the goodness of life. And as we talk about these teachings, we have to have a mental equivalent of the good. For example, a few years ago, I was speaking to a friend who had high blood pressure, and he came in with this idea that his wife gave him high blood pressure. He would say things like, whatever she does, such and such, I get so upset, I get so mad that my blood pressure begins to rise up. Can you help me with my wife? And I'm thinking, who does he think I am? She's giving me high blood pressure. He had this cause and effect relationship, thinking that his wife was causing his high blood pressure, and he was convinced of this idea. And he could show me all his experience of this. He said, well, when she did this, my pressure went up. When she did not do this, my pressure went up. And so he's asking me for the answer. So I'm thinking, okay, he thinks I'm the answer man. Put on my turban, said a few ohms, spun around a few times, faced the east. I really was saying that it had nothing to do with your wife. And I broke it down and said he was living in a world in which he thought being happy or unhappy was based upon how she should or should not be being in his life. And when she was not doing or doing something, then he thought his blood pressure went up. But he was out of touch with the truth that underneath that mental belief was love, was beauty. God was still being God. Everything was in a flow. And the moment he was able to get that he was not living his life based upon what his wife should or should not do, something began to emerge in his life that pulled him away from that particular belief. And even though he may have preferences, it wasn't like that his well-being was dependent upon anything that she did or did not do. I think in our world, what we want to do is realize that if we want to get in the flow, if things are going in a way that we don't like, we have to ask ourselves the right kinds of questions. We have to ask, it says in the scripture that seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. Ask and the question will be answered. I don't know if it says it quite like that, but I am. But we have to ask good questions because we always get answers to the questions that we ask. The quality of the questions are so important. And so the question we want to ask, that when we're going through a challenge and we're looking for new possibilities, we must ask, what good is here that I presently cannot see? What good is here that I presently cannot see? And our mind will be going on a hunt, on a search for that answer. The surface mind, when things are not going the right way, it'll ask, what's wrong? Who's to blame for this? Who's at fault here? You never want to ask the wrong kinds of questions. As I always like to say, if things are not going right in your life, you don't ever want to ask, how can things get any worse? Don't want to ask that kind of question. The universe being all-powerful, all-knowing, says, oh, you want to know how things can get worse? Well, here you go. No, don't ask that kind of questions. Those are the kind of questions the surface mind asks. It keeps us from opening up the channel for the good to come in. What good is here that I presently cannot see? When we do that, we come out of blame, we come out of shame, we come out of guilt, we come out of what's wrong, what's happening in our life, and we say, oh, I see it. I see an opening. I see an answer. I see availability. I see this. I see how God's idea is much bigger than I thought. There is a blessing here, even when things don't happen according to our plan. I think I remember a time back, there was a husband and wife team. He played the guitar and she sang, and he was an awesome guitar player. He could play. He said when he was about 5 years old, his parents gave him a guitar, and they got lessons, and his brothers and sisters had the same thing, but he was the only one who was interested in it. So he could practice all day, and he was spectacular. And I remember one time I was watching him in a concert, and he was doing a solo piece. And in the middle of the solo piece, one of his strings of his guitar broke. He was totally unfazed. He just went to a lower key, changed around the tune, and came up with something even more magnificent than the original tune. He went with the flow. He didn't say, why is this happening to me? And I think when we do that, we move into the realm of faith. And faith is really suspending a disbelief in miracles. Suspending a disbelief that everything is working for our good. We no longer hold the fact that that's not possible. I went the other day to watch a movie with my wife and son called Creed. And, in those movies, you gotta, you have to suspend your disbelief that this could be possible. Because this was a continuation of all the Rocky movies. I think they came out in the 80s. I can't remember, 70s, 80s, a long time ago. And you had Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky 5, Rocky 6. And then now they're the new generation that the sons of the individuals in the previous movie came out now. And, of course, you have to suspend the belief that they would somehow meet, both be boxers, both be very good, both come back and meet again. You have to suspend that kind of belief and enjoy the movie. So we have to suspend our own disbelief about what's okay, what's possible. So faith is suspending our disbelief that everything is working together for our good, because it is, no matter how it may look like right now. So I ask you, are willing to suspend that kind of belief and have faith, no matter what you're going through or growing through, no matter what we're experiencing in our life, in our world? in our communities, what's happening in paradise. And I think one of our persons here today, I think, told me that they're here, and we just want to hold them in prayer, know that there's a right and perfect outcome despite the experience. We hold that affirmation, and I want to just ask you, are you into that? I heard a faint yes. Yes. Are you willing to suspend your belief about miracles being possible? Yes. Okay, I heard another mild yes. Are you willing to suspend disbelief of the good that is trying to happen in your life right now? Yes. Yes. We want to ask ourselves the right kind of questions. What good is here? What's good is here that I can't see right now? What door is here that I can't see? What possibility is here I presently cannot see? What solution is here that I can't see in the moment? What is presently here that I cannot hear? Let me see it. Let me hear it. And as we ask that question, then we begin to gravitate toward those answers. We become available. We become flexible. We become open to the good that's trying to happen through us. So I invite you to say with me right now, I'm available to the good that is trying to happen through me. There are magnificent possibilities. I see it. I feel it. I accept it. It is done. So it is. Peace and blessings to you. I think what we're going through in our own world today, we need to hold that vision, hold those possibilities that are expressing themselves on the invisible plane so they become possible in our visible world. And with that, I invite you to prepare for giving your gift and your love offering, knowing that it will support this community. And if you've given any other way, online or through electronic giving, knowing that you are in that wonderful flow that is changeless, that says that whatever we give out, it comes back to us in so many different ways. So as we symbolically raise our gifts and offerings to the heavens, which is ever-expanding good, let us prepare giving our gifts by saying our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I recirculate. Thank you, God.
Life is a journey, not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. Lay down your regrets, 'cause all we have is now. Wake up in the morning and get out of bed. Start making a mental list in my head of all of the things that I am grateful for. Early in the morning, it's a dawn of a new day, new hopes, new dreams, new ways. I open up my eyes and I open up my mind and I wonder how life will surprise me today. Early in the morning, it's a dawn of a new day, new hopes, new dreams, new ways. I open up my heart and I'm gonna do my part and make this a positively beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Life is a challenge, not a competition. You can still smell the roses and be on a mission. Just take a moment to get in touch with your heart. Sometimes you feel like you've got something yourself that there's only one you. Just take a moment to give thanks for who you are. Yeah. Early in the morning, it's the dawn of a new day. New hopes, new dreams, new ways. I open up my eyes and I open up my mind and I wonder how life will surprise me today. Early in the morning, it's the dawn of a new day. New hopes, new dreams, new ways. I open up my heart and I'm gonna do my part and make this a positively beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Let's make this so wonderful. Let's make this so powerful. Let's make this a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Life is a journey, not a destination. There are no mistakes, just chances we've taken. Lay down your regrets, 'cause all we have is a now.
Another slice, a beautiful day. A second slice. Second slice, yes, second slice.
Another slice will be the next.
Okay, that's the next iteration? All right. Well, we bless the tithes and offerings, knowing that the gifts bless the givers and receivers on all levels of their being, as we go forth with magnificent possibilities coming out of us, because they're there for us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, let us join. And remember, next week, the marathon, if you are coming across Fair Oaks, you got to leave earlier. That's what I used to do, get there before they close it off or find an alternative route. Now with that, let us join together and sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk